Hi, my name's Patrizia. I'm a nurse here. Okay. What's your name?
I'm Kayte.
Okay, what brought you in here today?
I was playing golf over the weekend and I fell while I was teeing off and I fractured my left wrist.
Oh, wow. Do you have a history of falling?
No, not really. I don't really know what happened. I lost control and I fell and I'm starting to think that maybe it was caused by my drinking.
Oh, so you were drinking before you went golfing?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Would you mind if we talked a little bit more about your alcohol use?
It's okay.
Okay. How much do you typically drink?
Well, I used to only drink, one or two, but over the past 6 months, it's increased a little bit. Now I have 3 to 4 a night, 3 to 4 beers.
3 to 4 beers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you use any? Do you smoke cigars or cigarettes or use any?
No, not really.
No, anything like that. All right. Well, I have a tool here with me, and it's called Audit, and this is just to help me gauge some of your alcohol patterns and just find out a little bit more about that. Is that all right if I ask you some of these questions?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So you said you typically have 3 to 4 drinks a night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how often do you have 6 or more drinks on an occasion?
6 or more? No, I haven't done that for years, and even then I didn't do it regularly.
Okay. How often during the last year have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you had started?
Well, that's kind of hard to pinpoint. I start at night with just one, and I have to drink to 3 or 4 now.
Okay. And how often during the last year have you failed to do what was normally expected from you because of drinking?
Maybe a couple of times.
Okay, so maybe like monthly or less than monthly?
Maybe less than monthly.
Less than monthly. How often during the last year have you needed a first drink in the morning to get yourself going?
Oh, I don't drink in the mornings.
You don't drink in the mornings?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How often during the last year have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after you've been drinking?
Well, my drinking, it upsets my wife some, and my grandchildren, I'm not as close with them because I've increased my drinking, and it kind of makes me feel isolated, and the more I drink, the more I just want to be by myself.
Okay, so the drinking makes you feel isolated, kind of.
Yeah.
How often during the last year have you been unable to remember what happened the night before because you had been drinking?
That's never.
That's never a problem for you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, have you or someone else been injured as a result of your drinking?
Well, I fell while I was teeing off and I hurt my wrist.
Okay.
So.
And has a relative or friend or a doctor ever been worried about your drinking and asked you to cut down?
Well, I don't know that I've been asked to cut down, but I can tell that my wife, I don't know that she worries about it per se, but I think she definitely sees it as an issue. And I'm here now, you're talking to me about it, so maybe.
Okay. So based on your answers to these questions, this suggests that you're at risk for drinking, a drinking problem, and I'm just a little bit concerned about your alcohol use, especially because your age, you're now 65, and as you get older, your body has a harder time metabolizing the alcohol, and so whereas before you may have been able to drink 6 or 7 drinks and may not have felt the effects, now that you're older, that could severely impact you, and it definitely contributed to your fall, and so that's just something that we should talk about while we're here.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some of the pros of drinking?
The pros for me, well, it just helps me to relax. I like to come home and drink when I come home from work to, let off the stress of the day, and it helps me sleep.
Helps you sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. What about some of the cons to drinking? Have you correlated any tendencies in your life that contribute to you drinking? Like, do you find yourself drinking after a really stressful day? Do you find yourself drinking after having an argument with your significant other?
Well, I would say prior to these past 6 months, I would just do it on a really stressful day or like after an argument, like you said. But now, these past 6 months, it's every day. I come home and drink it. So, I mean, maybe it's correlated with stress, but now even if I have a good day, I want to drink.
Okay. All right. So, what I'm seeing so far is that drinking and stress used to correlate that, but now it's just kind of like an everyday thing almost. Like you don't even need to feel stressed to drink, right? And so I'm seeing that it's impacting your marriage, and that it's something that you would like to quit or you would like to cut back down on.
Well, I think that the I didn't say this earlier, but I think that the negative part of drinking is that it makes me feel isolated.
Makes you feel isolated.
And so, but then when I feel isolated, I feel like I have to drink more.
Okay.
And so,
so drinking and isolation go hand in hand.
I think so.
Okay. So I really appreciate you telling me some of this stuff. I know that these questions are like really personal. It's really hard to talk about.
Yeah.
I would like to just look at your medical information and just talk a little bit about some of these things. So it says that your pulse rate was 114 and your blood pressure is a little high, 172/98. Is that something that you've struggled with before? Or?
I don't think so. I've never been told I have high blood pressure, you know?
Okay. So some of these correlate directly with drinking. As you get older, our body just has a harder time adjusting to the changes in our body's ability to metabolize the alcohol and stuff like that. So it can contribute to increasing your blood pressure, increasing heart rate. And these are changes that we want to take care of because as we get older, we don't want our heart rate to be this like high, and we want to lower your blood pressure. So do you think that some of these things are contributing to your alcohol use, like these health problems?
And maybe. I mean, I never had them before, but I also never drank 3 to 4 beers a night. I always had less than that, so I could see how that could go hand in hand.
Okay. Has anyone ever talked to you about the risks of drinking? Like
risks?
Yeah, the risks associated with it.
No. I mean, it makes me feel better.
Okay.
So
we have some great handouts here. Would you be interested in receiving some more material and information about some of the risks of drinking and some?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm going to do this readiness to change assessment with you, and basically what this is, it's a scale on 0 to 10, and 0 is not ready for change, and 10 is I'm ready to change. Where do you think you would be on the scale?
For my drinking?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd probably be like a 4.
You think you're a 4?
Yeah.
Why'd you say a 4 and not like a 5 or a 6?
I said a 4 because I don't really see what's wrong with my drinking, you know?
So you don't really see it as a problem right now, right?
No, I mean, sure, it might have isolated me from my grandchildren a little bit, but I don't really know why.
You don't know why?
Mm-hmm.
What about your confidence and your ability to change, to reduce your drinking? Do you think that if you thought it was important to you, do you think you would be able to stop?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that maybe then I would be like a 6.
You think you'd be a 6? Okay. So I think from what I'm hearing that you really don't see your drinking as a problem right now, and that if you did see it as a problem, you'd be 60% confident that you could change it, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, if it's impacting my health, it's a problem.
Yeah, and it definitely impacts your health. I mean, it was one of the reasons why you fell at the golf course. And I think implementing some small changes in your life, you would really see a lot of these benefits.
Okay.
Would you be interested in implementing some changes?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about, let's come up with a plan. What about we reduce your drinking instead of 3 to 4, maybe 1 to 2 drinks? Would that be something you can implement?
That's what I used to do.
That's what you used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why don't we try seeing that? And then why don't we try, instead of drinking before going to the golf course, why don't we see if one of your friends maybe wants to go golfing with you, and instead of drinking before going to the golf course, maybe just going out for a coffee or something with your friend. Is that something that, I mean, that would improve your isolation, so you'd be going to the golf course with a buddy, and you'd be socializing by maybe going out to get a coffee.
Okay.
Instead of, being alone and wanting to drink and then going golfing.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Okay,
I'd like to golf with a friend.
you would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could even take your grandkids too.
Oh, that would be great.
I mean, there's other things at the golf club to do there, right?
Yeah.
A swimming pool and some.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that might be something you could look into doing. What about a support system? You mentioned your family. Do you think they would be supportive of this?
Of my stopping drinking or reducing
Cutting
drinking.
back?
Yeah, I think my wife would be really supportive of it. I think that she really wants me to do that. And
Yeah.
I mean, my grandchildren might not understand it, but I think that it would influence them
Okay.
in a positive way.
Okay. So I think we've talked about some really good changes that we could try to implement, and I'm going to get you some material on some of the dangers and risks that come with drinking, and some support groups that maybe you could look into joining, and that could improve your, isolation. I'd really like to see you in the next couple weeks so we could talk more about this and see what's working for you and what's not. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you.